Like we just sat down to start this tournament, but already the Crescent City Cup is nearly over. 19 games have been played, one to go, and this will essentially serve as the championship game. If Annette is able to go through not one but two North American champions, she will win a major tournament just 2 years after making her tournament debut. But Jackson is not going to make things easy for her. Jackson, with his enormous spread compared to Annette's plus 181, will leapfrog her and take first place if he wins this game. Although there are some scenarios where Cooper Komatsu, who is in third place at 13-6, could surpass Jackson on spread if Jackson has a narrow victory and Cooper has a mammoth victory.
And remember, Cooper had 2 or 3 forfeit losses too, and he's still managed to claw his way back to third place. So
I heard that he was in contention, and I'm like, surely
What?
there's another Cooper that
Yeah.
I'm like not connecting dots on, right? He
Yeah.
forfeited all of his games and woke up at 2:30 a.m. to fight through like what on earth? But man, kid's a fighter.
Yeah.
I'll give him that much for sure.
Yeah.
In any case, Annette versus Jackson is where we're focusing our energy. In the CSW division, Dave Wiegand has all but won. He'd have to lose by over 250 for his lead to evaporate there. So preemptive congrats to Dave Wiegand on his
Commentator
victory
curse
there.
right here. Let's see it.
And in the CSW light division, we have Terry and Yuki, both featured on stream this morning in interviews, playing each other for the championship down there. So cool stuff, lots of stakes, and Jackson off to the races here in this championship game against Annette. ABEMOPG. That went from all right to maybe not quite so all right.
Mega bop.
Mega
bop.
Not a word, but thank you, Conrad, for your contribution to the stream.
Mhm.
Jackson's going to have some options here to choose between POMBE for 28 points, GAMBE for 24 if you really want to shed the G, but
Yeah.
you're stuck keeping something clunky here. So I think POMBE, just hold your nose, hold that G, score 28 points is about what you got to do, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Pombe is an African drink made from grain and fruit. It does take a back S and no other hooks. So assuming that's what Jackson plays here.
And it would be just what the doctor ordered for Annette. I think it would give her Don John.
Don John, yeah.
Would be
a great bailout of a terrible first.
Yeah. Turn that bad rack into honestly a pretty decent one. I don't know if she knows the word, but it's I suspect far and away the best play here.
Yeah, outside of Don John, through that O, she's going to be stuck probably just playing dojo and holding double ends.
Yeah.
So time for Annette to flex on the stream if she knows the word Don John.
Yeah.
She's going to drop it down here.
Yeah, it's trouble if not. We'll see what Jackson picks up a second G. And
that
picks
S will
up
help.
an S, yep. We see dojo. Now we need to add a couple more N's in there.
I still just can't believe we have someone who started playing tournaments 2 years ago, now sitting atop the division and facing what feels like the two final bosses. Oh, dojo. Okay.
Yep.
So slightly missed opportunity there for Annette. She's going to need some vowels now to get out of this mess.
Beazizzle notes there's another chance for Angus for Jackson here.
I think guano is the play that Jackson's going to play.
Yeah.
UANO and OD just kind of open things up. Oh, wow. Annette. Oh, wow. That is crucial.
Bailed out.
Bailed out hard.
She gets the D first and then A and E, and
Spand is
going
very
to play
easy and is almost certain to go down next turn. Wow. Great pull from Annette.
Yep.
And Jackson, ugh, not a fun rack for him.
Yeah. Yeah, she saved the two N's because she knew she was going to get AE.
So I guess this is a bit of a word knowledge check for Annette. Is she 100% certain that POMBE takes the S? I literally don't think I'd ever seen that word until Jackson played it, like until it popped up on Quackle on my feed. So I'd be scared on stream in a championship to hook my S there. But
that may have gotten added to TW at one point.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't even know why they let me do this.
Yeah, I don't know either. You could have been playing in first place right here.
Maybe. Weird stuff happens in this city all
Is
the time.
ungag, is that good?
Oh. Dugongs
Oh,
from the D.
okay.
That's 20 points.
Must
I guess
be.
you can do that. I don't know. I guess Jackson doesn't really like playing Guano here and opening everything up. Oh, he's actually going to bypass it. I did not expect this from
He
him.
wants
Oh,
to keep the U.
wants to keep the U for the content. This smells like an X setup to
Yeah.
me, but Annette, has no choice but to
Right.
play her bingo here. She couldn't knock that out if she wanted to. This a
Yeah.
fishy looking play from
Yeah.
Jackson. I'm pretty surprised this isn't Guano, but I'm sure he's got a reason for doing this. Maybe he doesn't want the game to come down to just fireworks and who's going to hit the bingos first. Maybe he wants to kind of skill it out in the trenches. But I mean, Annette showed some skill in the trenches all tournament. So
Well, let's see. Can Jackson pick up the X?
it can't be an X setup. He just played the X. So no, that doesn't look nearly as fishy. Ignore me. I'll be here all tournament, but
He just played the X.
He would just play Gox. He's not setting up the X.
Good
The X is
point.
already
Good
set
point.
up.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Alec, for keeping me honest. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
So it appears that Jackson has drawn a W and a U to go with the U that he kept.
Unao plays for 23 on top of Spand, but WAUL plays
plays
beneath it.
underneath.
That's, I think, substantially better.
Yeah.
Gives up a lot of points back most of the time, but I mean, when you got horrible inflexible racks like this,
Yeah. This is a good example of like bad rack, but a good play, so fine.
right?
And there's the X for Annette. Can she pick up? Just needs an A or an E to follow up her bingo with another banger of a play. See that?
And
There's
there it
the
is. There it
A.
is. Oh man,
Oh,
okay.
that's perfect.
You don't want to get
E.
stuck down with 2 O's as your leave, but hey, you can't ever sneeze at an X bomb for a gazillion points. Hoax. Oh, Hoax is 61.
Yeah, Hoax is
Right.
fantastic.
Got to feel good about that.
Hoax.
But Jackson's
boom,
found
he's
some
in.
good stuff on his rack
Yep.
too. Penuries is going to come from the P for him next turn.
Mhm.
We are going to have a lot of points
Yeah.
this game, I think. Wow. So Hoax for Annette. Bingo from Jackson. It's going to pull this one to 161 to 152 very shortly. But Annette's still leading.
And a good leave, and is going to have some nice tiles to play through. Not necessarily for bingos, but that S out in the triple lane could loom large.
I mean, the double beneath WAUL is a big spot as well. So
Yeah.
Jackson's going to open up more spots, but this board's just going to sit wide open for a little bit. Big pull for her AINOBR and an F. Ugh, could be better, could be worse.
I mean, we know how Matt feels about Fs.
Yes. Yes, we do. So, Penury's the only playable bingo for Jackson. He wastes no time to put it down. And 152, 161, Annette on turn. I think the candidate play that makes the most sense is FAB beneath wall.
Yeah,
32 points, hold iron. If you're really paranoid about this S, you could play fobs to it, holding AINR. Only 4 unseen A's, so not worried about maybe doubling up on that.
Yeah.
But you've got to leave the S alone and take your points on the bottom, right?
Yeah, I mean, the S in that spot is honestly not that bad because that's the double letters already been taken there. That's usually the worry is being able to put a high point tile there. So putting an E out in space or, whatever, or some vowel is often worse than putting an S covering that double letter score. So I wouldn't be too worried from her perspective. I kind of like being able to keep playing control.
Now, the simulations hate Fab for what it's worth. I'm running it now, and I'm surprised to see it drop to nearly the bottom of all the candidate plays. Insofar is another option through the S. Just turn over a ton of tiles, still 2 blanks to be drawn. Maybe it's a little bit unorthodox, but, holding a B, not the best, but
it's not that powerful of a double lane, right? I mean, like NA doesn't take too many.
no, it does not.
Obviously, the E, but
then you'd have to,
yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot behind it, just not tiles you would expect to be the 7th spot.
Yeah, I guess it's that. Yeah,
7-letter word.
The ING would be the scary one.
Ooh, yeah, ING would crush that. Okay.
Yeah.
LY as well. Ooh,
yeah. So I guess fibs over fobs, I suppose, because there's so many eyes left. That is, of course, a risk of anything like fab as well. don't want to get into eye trouble here.
Fibs is simming way beneath Fobs, like 4.5 points apart, which is interesting because I thought exactly the same thing.
What are we missing? Can anyone figure
There
out why
must
Quackle
must
likes
be
it?
something. Maybe I've got
Thing-
Quackle set to Norwegian for Annette. What
Well,
makes it even more ridiculously impressive what Annette is doing is like English isn't even her first language.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
She's Norwegian, so grew
Cool.
up speaking Norwegian. She
Yeah.
said now her English is better than her Norwegian because she
Okay.
hasn't been back home in a while. But like, are you who are you, Annette?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
jeez, man. Okay, so Fobs is actually the highest simming move, and that is what Annette elects to do here, play a little board control, and we know that she's not going to get hit back hard. No double doubles as Jackson's pulled a yucky double Y combination.
Yeah. But unfortunately, Annette immediately picks out another A. Kinara is a way to get rid of a lot of those tiles, but
Jackson, I think, very straightforward play of gray here.
yeah.
Everybody makes that play in this situation. No analysis to be offered. He pulls within 2 points, 186 to 188. And now Annette needs to figure out how to proceed. Playing KAB to the B in Fobs is 32 points, but holding AIINR, that's a rather inflexible leave with a lot of
Yeah.
eyes to still draw. Playing a play like MAKI from the M is only 20, but AINR is a reasonable leave. I might be looking to play a little bit longer. If you know the 6-letter Kinara, Kinara, it plays through the N in penuries. Turn over some tiles, go looking for one of these two blanks. I think that makes some sense for her to do here as well. Another tricky turn for her.
Jackson's rack seems to have taken a turn for the positive, picking up another S. And, it's got that F again, or still, and something like boy or something, could open the board and he could pretty easily get back ahead.
FOY would play above a GOG for 28.
Yeah.
He's also got heroes or gyros, depending on your preferred, how hungry you are, I guess. That
Yeah.
comes down from the G if he wants to score 39 right now.
Yeah.
But decent rec for Jackson. Gonna give him some good stuff in the future probably as well. This
I
one,
think
this
so.
this turn is tricky for Annette. This
Yeah.
turn's very tricky for Annette.
It's hard to move away from Cobb just because it's obvious points.
But if you do play KAB, you're just setting up that ski spot, the front hook that's just gonna sit there. It's not the most dangerous bingo line, but it's one that will almost not
It's
ever go away.
annoying, but it's almost always gonna give something back, forcing bingos in row 2 and 14, etc. So she's gonna go for, I guess, what we would call the equity play here and play Kina, deduplicating both the I and the A, which with 6 T's and 7 E's unseen, maybe going for one of those retina words, perhaps.
Yeah, big pull for her. Don't draw more eyes, Annette.
Yeah.
Or if you're a Jackson fan, then draw all the I's, Annette. Oh,
And
wow,
here's
you
the
just
E and
summoned
the
that
T
retina
and
on
the
her back. All
C.
right, so Annette with a good pull here.
I don't know if anything's actually. Oh no, there's the E in Pombe. Oh, that would be huge.
Oh my
She won't
goodness,
miss
yeah,
that.
she's got 83 points to the E in
Yeah,
Pompey, a number of different bingos,
yeah.
actually.
That's where you want the E to be.
And if that does somehow go away, if Jackson does play FOY beneath Hoax, she still has another bingo
Yeah.
from the B in Pomb. So, ooh, fun extension alert. Spanned takes a front in spanned.
Hmm.
All right, get that in anagram one day.
Yeah.
Almost a 9-pin steal. Okay. Anyway, I digress. Back to the Scrabble. Jackson, rather tricky turn here. Again, we've talked about the number of eyes. I guess there's only 6 unseen now, but still more than you'd like. And most of Jackson's good plays hold an eye, so
Yeah.
he could get into some trouble here with them. But I don't see a
Yeah.
compelling way to get rid of them aside from grift. And I think that's shelling out a little bit too much equity just
Yeah.
to play off an eye. I
It's,
think FOY,
yeah. It's hard to get away from FOY. I mean,
yeah, just head and shoulders above the other plays
yeah.
from an equity perspective. And
Yeah. And if Annette does bingo, a lot of time he's going to get to hit that F for a bit, or like for quite a few points. Kind of setting up the R for Raya as well. Another bingo lane. And he gets, I think that's a Collins only one, isn't it? Torties and
yeah, it's not no
yeah,
NWL
okay.
bingos in that one, as far as
But
I know.
So now I think it's actually gonna matter if she plays Sentier. That'll give him Cartiers, and she is gonna play Sentier. Not gonna get a chance to find Iterants.
Yeah, iterants or and create also play there, but
Yeah,
you don't know exactly what Jackson's going to come back with. This one just happens to give the big counter bingo
yeah,
Cotiers, and
I
Jackson,
yeah,
yeah, 83 points. He's going to play it. Both blanks still in the bag.
yeah,
Annette would love to go get one right now.
yeah. Definitely a rushed play though. I mean, you want to put the I over there. This
Yeah,
the C is so good for bingos.
yes, so many words begin with the letter C, the
Yeah,
second most common letter in the alphabet to begin a word with.
yeah,
If at all possible, I try to put an I there. I
yeah,
think, yeah, as you said, just maybe a little too excited or a little bit
yeah.
too much of a rush there. Um, but
I think iterants would that have given
iterants would have given back, I think, nothing.
nothing. Yeah.
Where's no, yeah,
Shout out to my brother who has a tortie. She's a
no.
wonderful kitty. All right, let's see a blank for Annette here, or some vowels, or some more vowels, and maybe some more
Oh,
vowels. And
ouch.
so a horrible pickup for Annette here.
Guiro still plays and is
And
about the only bailout in
and
this
look at
rack.
what Jackson's draw. Oh,
Oh,
again! How does
Vouvray?
this keep happening? These people just keep willing these horrible racks. And like, oh, and I'll just throw a blank on there just because.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, well, now it's not so
Yeah, now it's
horrible. I just
perfectly
gotta
fine.
navigate one bad turn and then bingo.
Yeah,
Blanks make everything better. Just
yeah,
draw them all every
yeah.
game, and Scrabble's real easy.
But picking up all these vowels not so bad for Annette because if you look at the unseen pool, 22 consonants, 10 vowels, 3 T's, 2 N's, 3 L's, 2 D's, plenty of good tiles to come. Obviously, avoiding the Q here would be nice. But I do think that whoever bingos next is going to be in pretty good shape. It's hard to get away from Gyro here. We now have fewer A's and I's than we did before.
And here comes Guiro. Yeah, okay. So AEI, not the best leave, but you can't keep a good leave. This clearing away, I think, the best play that she
Yeah.
can make.
And again, with the over 2-to-1 consonant vowel ratio, this is a better leave than usual. But she
Yes.
really needs to pick up a bingo here with Jackson sitting on UVV, which, as we know, makes or breaks Scrabble games.
Yeah, that floating R is going to be very helpful for her, and
Yeah.
maybe it gets obstructed. Viva makes some sense to play at the bottom, but
So,
it's more points at the top.
oh
Annette,
goodness. That was not what anyone except Jackson wanted to see. And he doesn't even know it.
ouch.
That is rough.
It's not over,
It's not
but
over.
there's still another blank in the bag. But all right, welcome to the gauntlet, Annette. You want to win the tournament, you got to go through Josh, then Jackson, and they're going to draw at least the first 3 blanks against you.
Yeah.
And also, here's a bunch of vowels. Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a very ill-timed draw.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot that can happen. There's still a blank in the bag, Q, Z in the bag, like lots of, there's so much that can still happen in this game. And after Annette looked like she was nearly done against Josh, she came back and pulled it out. So, not counting her out at all for any reason. This is a deceptively hard turn for Jackson too. I mean, how do you work through all of this stuff? Like, do you just play Viva at the top? You don't want to obstruct the floaters in Guiro if you're planning to bingo soon. So maybe just VIVA through the iron penuries for 20. Or if maybe you do want to block the bottom up, you've got the blank. Maybe you feel like you're in good shape to just kind of thwack and thwack. You've got to decide your approach to the rest of this game right now if you're Jackson. I don't know. There's also kind of hiding outrave from the O and the T in Sentier. If you want to hold V blank instead, I think that actually works okay. Maybe not the best.
I'm liking Viva on the top right here because you can't like you're not really gonna block both all the plays all the letters in Gyro as well as Sentier, like that T, etc. Still plenty to be played there. So I think Jackson wants to go for the bingo ASAP. At least that's what I would probably want to do in from his perspective.
Yeah, and I know I'm not getting another U. I've got the final one. I will work nicely into ERU blank. another E would be okay. I'm not thrilled about holding an R when I've got an R to work with on the board, but beggars can't be choosers when you draw UVV.
Right. Unless you're Dave Weekend.
Correct. Then you just bingo with Vesuvian and win the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
That was a highlight from earlier. Spoiler alert, I guess.
Spoilers. Yeah, I think the blocking the R and gyro would be
Guiro.
asking to lose.
Guiro.
Gyro. Guiro.
Do you know what a guiro is?
No, clearly not. I've been
It's
mispronouncing it
a
for the last 20 minutes.
percussion instrument. And a
Oh,
drummer.
a heavy metal drummer?
Correct. Not a Latin fusion drummer.
Yeah, it's true.
So eventually Jackson kind of holds his nose and plays Viva. Big draw for him here. He wants to dodge eyes. We know he can't draw eyes because Annette's got them all. He'll just get the one. But, ooh, okay, a failure and a bunch of other stuff. I think Jackson to bingo next turn, right?
Yeah, and that's going to need to draw something quickly here. She immediately exchanges 5, and that may have been a risky time to change 5. There's a chance she ends up with absolutely no vowels beyond that E. I personally would have kept one there, and sure enough, if she had kept the A, which is what I would have kept, may have had waltzes. So
Yeah, I think maybe another rush decision here for her. But you got to look at the unseen pool. Vowels are at a premium. You just gave them back for Jackson.
yeah,
I think you need to hold one more there, but this is an annoying punish. Jackson to
yeah,
bingo now. AEI will argue blank is going to allow him to play ruralite or ruralize from that R. He can also instead attack the T in Sentier and play something like Tenurial. A few other bingos there for him. But he'll have a low scoring bingo, but one that probably doesn't give back too
yeah.
much stuff. Well, okay, ruralize give back Z's for 69. So I don't know. I still don't know who's going to win this game. This is nuts.
Yeah, I'd say after this next turn, Jackson will probably be well above a coin flip, probably in the 75 to 80% chance. One thing I noticed, we've had a lot of really slow games this entire tournament. Annette has 16 minutes left. Jackson has 13 minutes left. And if when we go back over this game later, that is something that we will see, Sentier, little things can make the difference throughout any round and especially into round 20.
Chet makes a good point on the exchange 5. Well, she did hold 1E, but turnover helpful as well. 2 unseen blanks. You don't necessarily have Jackson pegged on one after Viva. You can have almost anything and make that play. So, I don't know. Yeah, I think you go back and forwards. I probably would have still kept another vowel. I love going for blanks and turnover in these situations, but I also like having vowels when there aren't many left.
Yeah. Blanks kind of aren't that good if you don't have any vowels. You kind of need vowels and consonants to bingo. Yeah, reburial is definitely an interesting play here.
But can you actually sacrifice 4 points? Maybe you can.
I mean, it makes it hard to bingo. And most of the bingos that happen after, because again, no Jackson as the case are going to be hard for a bingo to score very much.
You have to guess Annette probably didn't exchange and hold a Z, right?
Right.
So it's slightly less likely than random for her to hit a Z play on the double letter triple word spot. Whoa. So he's going to play reburial over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I meant.
Okay, yeah, big board control decision,
Yeah.
point sacrifice. But I mean, we've seen Will Anderson do this a number of times in tournaments where when he bingos to put himself in advantageous situation, he just mucks up the board as much as he can. I think this is a great choice from Jackson, independent of knowing Annette had Z's lined up and ready to go. And this is what makes Jackson so hard to beat. Only 59 for the bingo, but he's now ahead by 66 on a board that's quickly running out of opportunities to do anything productive. Ooh. So Annette can play weft through the F at the top of the board. She can play welds and walls over on the right side of the board for 42 points holding CTZ. She has a lot to think about here. If Jackson pulls the other blank,
He'll be the
then
seventh tile he looks at, guaranteed. Here it is. Oh, okay. But he draws a lot of really good tiles.
and a Q.
And a Q. But Q is not really a bad tile to draw here when you have somehow drawn AT to it as well.
Yeah, QAT is going to play on top of Reburial or with VIVAT, so Jackson's going to be able to eject this.
Yeah.
Knowing that, Weft is kind of annoying for Jackson to see come down because he just can't do anything to muck it up. He has
Right.
to shed this Q, but for Annette, she's so far away from a bingo after that play that Jackson could just block it next turn. And I don't really see any other ways to open lines on this board anymore.
She's gonna have to get something, I think, with the Z with Spand and stuff. Something blank blank Z maybe.
The TIZ would be
Yeah.
big for her,
Yeah.
but playing Weft gives up the T that you need to
Yeah.
hit that.
Yeah.
So
2 more unseen. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend to know which 3-letter words ending in Z are good.
yeah. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what she's able to draw. I don't
We'll see.
Weft. Yeah, we'll see. Very good. Got me. I wonder if she sees welds. Like, I don't think I'd see that play most of the time unless I'm 100% firing on all cylinders. She's going to play Weft. I think this makes sense.
Yeah.
And then if you're Jackson with that Z still pending, do you think once again you make a little point sacrifice and play QAT and VFOT just to avoid, a cheap 40, 45 point play on top of Spand? Or do you play it on top of Reburial for more? 3 points difference between the two plays.
Well, I think part of it is you start to think about like what's your next play as Jackson? What are you hoping to accomplish on a future turn? And Cot doesn't give much back. There's something nice about QAT and Vivat blocking that aforementioned Z spot, something ending in EZ. Tis still unseen to him.
You have to look at this unseen pool, though. Like a play like Ditz's beneath Reburial could be absolutely devastating for you. So if you start sacrificing points everywhere you can, then I don't know, that gets kind of dicey. Maybe you need every point you can get. I don't know. It's tricky.
I mean,
this is why Scrabble's so hard. I don't know the answers to these questions. I can just tell you what the players are thinking about. That's DIZENS. Yeah, thanks to Jello Mocha's in chat for that. DIZENS would be bingo score, just a devastating play. And with the blank, Annette will definitely burn a blank to make that play. It's very, very likely that she hits this. But Jackson, because he's bogged down by the Q, can really do nothing to stop this from happening this turn. I guess you could play Latine right now beneath it, but that's crazy.
is it?
Well, no, maybe it's not. Yeah, QI.
Well, yeah, it's pretty risky. There are plenty of W bingos that could still exist. I don't think you want to hang out with the Q. I don't think.
All right, so Jackson grimaces, puts down QAT, and hopes he doesn't see DIZENS come down. But Annette would grab her tiles immediately and make this play. If she had it as a natural, she'd probably deliberate for a while if she planned on burning a blank to do it. Does Jackson draw the blank? No. It is still in the bag.
Yeah.
5 tiles in the bag for Annette.
So Annette could play Carl, fishing for Dizzens, or play Czar, CZAR, going for a crazy W bingo or something through the K. So she does have some options still.
If she does play CZAR, she doesn't actually have very many bingos from the W, DELNS. If you put in 2 blanks, just with this unseen pool, T blank would give her wetlands. She could get wildness if she picks up I blank, but otherwise she's not hitting this W if she plays CZAR. Yeah, that W is just not as fruitful as it looks. Maybe she can also hit something through the K. But yeah, you got to wonder now. I mean, the next thing Jackson will address is almost certainly the big Z possibilities beneath Reburial.
Well, it looks like she has Czar spelled out, which is perfectly reasonable.
If she picks up by blank, she wins the game with wildness.
Yeah, wildness would be the, well, let's just say it would be wild.
And just looking at so in the bag right now, blank IHMT. 5 in the bag.
All right, and now it looks like she's seen the Dizen spot as well, moving CL over. Moving tribute to CL Smith. We saw this weekend. Wish he was here in person, but love that for us.
Unfortunately, though, if you do play off the CL, like she's thinking about it, Jackson's going to sniff out. Are you fishing for Dysons or are you fishing for something from the W? She's fishing for Dysons. Jackson's got to pick one to block, but this only hits at the bottom. There's nothing she can pull from the top that is overly scary.
The two E's out. Yeah. She gets the I.
And the H, the blank is still in the bag. So if you're Jackson, do you just empty and pray, or do you try to leave a tile in the bag? Do you only play 2? Knocking out Dysons, I think, has to be the idea. He's got to figure out.
Can he do it well?
Oh, this is so hard. Can he do it well? No, not like at all. Though he's okay holding on to some of these vowels. Look at that unseen pool. DEHIMNSTZ blank. There's only 2 vowels left.
And this is so hard from Jackson's perspective because look at that pool. Annette is just as likely to be fishing from the W.
Yeah.
Like there's none like lack in no way indicates the Z. It's certainly possible, but it would just as much make sense to try to get rid of a couple consonants and draw another vowel. It's perfectly within her range to have left.
But then if she does have the Z, Czar looks like such a good play to fish for these
Right.
W bingos up top. So what was she doing?
Yeah, or the Z is just in the bag.
How fitting that they're basically playing a game of poker right now.
Yeah.
Jackson's trying to put a range on Annette. Is she fishing for the bottom spot or the top spot? One of the top poker pros who's come over to Scrabble is playing poker with one of the top Scrabble players in North America right now, and the championship and $2,500 is on the line. This is awesome.
It's so crazy to think, you play 19 games, you're here in the 20th game, and the whole tournament comes down to essentially one play. It's just, but you have to make all those right plays just to get here. That's,
Mizen's also unseen for Jackson. Mizens. That's oh, what is he gonna block? And if he blocks,
Indy is great. That's the block, right?
yeah, but Indy empties the bag.
Oh, it empties the bag, right?
Right,
yeah.
right.
So, unseen to us if he makes that play.
Just so many bingos available at the top. Whimsied is 107. Whitened available, whistled, a bunch of different stuff she could have been fishing for up there. What was her plan? What was she doing? Is she fishing for a bingo? The fact that a C and an L got played, the C does not work very well with that W, but the L looks like it'd be one of the most synergistic things.
Yeah.
So the fact that she played the L, I think, gives Jackson the information he needed to address the spot at the bottom as opposed to this spot at the top. He's going to reach into this bag, pull a blank, and know that he has just won the tournament.
He did it, yeah.
Very surprised.
Yeah.
And with that, Jackson's likely to edge out a rather narrow victory. So technically, Cooper Komatsu could win this tournament if he's out there running up the score on somebody.
He's playing
Otherwise,
Zach Ansel, who does not usually lose by 300.
Okay. So Annette facing Josh and then Jackson, probably the two best NWL North American players, draws 0 blanks and nearly wins both games. She
Yeah.
finishes the job in the first and comes close with a clever plan in the second one, but not able to do it. That play of lack may be right, definitely a cool play, but you got to go back and wonder if that was Czar, how are things different? She really just needed to draw the blank though, and she never did, and kind
Yeah,
of
she'd have hind Lex and Hindles. I don't think that would have done
yeah, Hindles, yeah.
much here.
But if she reaches in and grabs a blank instead, I think this is a super different game.
Yep.
At this point, I don't think Annette has spread to play for, but Jackson very much does. With Cooper nipping behind him, Annette, with her abysmal spread, knows she's going to be at the very bottom of the standings of whatever group she ends up at. I guess anybody with 14 wins.
Yes.
I think we figured out, assuming Cooper wins, Annette will finish third in this tournament.
I think the same would happen if Zach beats Cooper.
Oh, if Zach beats Cooper,
He's
Annette would
also
still
third.
finish third.
Yeah.
So Annette, great showing, up and down, first place, on and off across the tournament. And again, she's only been playing this game for 2 years. Are you kidding me?
That's cool. It's cool.
This is not the end for Annette. This is the beginning of what's going to be a very, very bright chapter
Yeah.
in the sport.
SEZ, is that?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, says and hinted seems pretty good, maybe. I mean, that could get blocked and not have an outplay, but
I think Quackle really wants her to block Smelt and Nays at the bottom.
oh yeah, there's a outplay. Thank you.
Yes, Jackson has, I think, just outs over there, like metal down to the E and
Yeah.
Indy. She needs to knock both of those out. It's rather unintuitive end game. Like, I'm gonna hold on to the Z and make sure you don't go out. But that's exactly what she's supposed to do to minimize spread here. You could play Says right now if you want, but I guess technically prolong the game one more turn. It's water under the bridge. Her spread doesn't matter.
I think that if she played says and then Jackson played a phony and then she played hinted, I think she would win by 1.
Jackson could throw, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so she's going to opt to knock out all of Jackson's outs, as I think is quite smart. Sized the play for her, bringing her up to 395, but this gives back 39. And water under the bridge doesn't matter for her. And then she's going to go out with HUN or HIN for 21. That's going to give us a final score of 466 to 418, staring down the gauntlet.
IH isn't a word though, but
What?
oh, that spot. So there's another Hun spot.
Oh, yeah, no, it's going to go on top of Reburial.
Well, they both scored 21.
Oh, Annette went ahead and exposed her tiles and was like, oh, you didn't go out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to make one more play, Annette. But
Yeah.
466 to 418, Jackson Smylie likely to be your Crescent City Cup champion of 2024. Annette dropping to third.
If Jackson had designated the blank an O, again, lost by 1. But it does appear he designated the blank an A. And yeah, Jackson wins another tournament.
Just one of many. He has been on an absolute tear. I mean, the storyline here has been Annette and her ridiculous rise to superstardom immediately, but I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about how awesome Jackson has been. Let's get to overhead cam for a minute.
Yeah.
That was interesting because you obviously had all the rainbows too.
Yeah,
That just takes out everything.
the only problem with that is what happened.
Right, it's like if I do
Easily
have a huge play there.
Yeah, the play here is like they drew us to leave the T, but the pool was not so good. There was a blank, so I didn't really want to leave it, but
Yeah, for sure.
because of the Z spot, it might not be better. I was kind of hoping it just gets taken away at some point.
Yeah.
It's good.
I think it's my only chance to push for that.
No, you please super well. Because also from my perspective, with the blanket, it was like there were bingos
Exactly,
you could have. There
that's
was
why
India's,
I played that keeping to see,
No, it's great.
hoping that you would think of that.
Yeah. No, I was close to trying to block it, but it was just too likely that plays on there. I couldn't outrun the
Yeah,
boss.
for sure.
So,
Interesting. For sure. But I don't feel like I've done much else. To be fair, I did get double points on stream, so.
oh yeah.
Alright. Good with that. All you can do is feel like you played okay.
Yeah, no, you had a great turn. Turn over. Turn over.
When you're ready.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's it.
It was a great game. It really was. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
So I think what was happening was sometimes when I wear them, I was canceling.
What a game. Congratulations to our 2024 NWL Crescent City Cup champion, probably Jackson Smylie. Do we have a Cooper score update? Do you know?
I'm not sure. No, you might need to win by what, 270, 280?
A gazillion points. I'm
Okay, we'll
like,
see.
probably not going to happen.
Awesome.
What a game.
Yeah.
Wow. How relieved were you to see the C and Sentier exposed, knowing that could have been something else?
Huge. Yeah. I mean, as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, at least we're trading. And especially since we're both diving into the blank filled bag evenly. Thank you, Joey. Yeah, it's like, you always, well, you never like to see your opponent bingo with no blanks in a pool with two.
Yep.
But at least we're both doing it, and so I don't feel like I'm at a disadvantage there. And luckily, I got it and she didn't. So
Yeah,
that's
you got them
pretty
both.
huge.
Yeah, that was huge. It looked like an uphill battle at the beginning, and then all of a sudden, man, just a big change in the
Yeah.
tides. She
No,
pulled
huge swing.
tons of L's, and the blanks were hiding until the end. Tell us about Indy at the end. That was
Yeah.
the big pivotal turn.
No, huge turn. Yeah, it's a really tough play, and I remember thinking as I was playing it, like Indy, Indy's a play that I'll make against, it's a play I make against a top player, thinking that they're going for the Z play, going for Dysons or Misons or something like that. Because in general, when you see something like Lack, most players would only play that keeping 1-point tiles, and if they had the Z, they'd play it off with Czar in the bottom left. But so I was trying to figure out, like, what are the chances that she's actually doing the Z fish, and I figured they were good enough that I have to block, because there were bingos from the W, windiest, whiniest,
Right,
etc.,
right.
where she could easily be keeping like EINS blank with Lack and just going for that bingo and hoping I don't block. But I felt like it was often enough she was keeping the Z that I had to do it. And I was looking at blocks for the W, and I couldn't outrun stuff like Dysons. Like, I was looking at just playing win, but it wasn't enough to outrun those 80-point Z plays. So I basically had to just take my chances that she was going for the Z, or that if she wasn't, she just missed her fish and couldn't hit the W. I think the odds are pretty good in Indy's favor.
We thought it was one of the coolest clinics of like trying to play the poker game in Scrabble. To leave the inference, what are you holding? Are you trying to bingo on the top or at the bottom? And how fitting that game against a professional poker player in Annette. That was really cool.
There were a few turns where I was really trying to read her and get a read on what's going on. Like with Viva, I was really close to playing Varv because there's a lot of bingo threats in the pool, and this is the type of board where the first player to bingo clogs up all those lanes at the bottom and is in a really favorable position. So I was a bit worried about playing Viva, getting bingoed on, and being dead. But I kind of got a read that she wasn't going to bingo, which is why I left that space open.
You got to read. That's
A read. I
tells,
mean,
a
maybe I just
professional
got
poker
lucky.
player
Maybe I just got
giving away
lucky.
tells. Very interesting. Annette, something to be learned from this. And then tell us about a reburial as well. That was obviously a really hard choice. Which
For
we should
sure.
play.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of regretted it later. I was looking at Ruralize, Ruralite, and in both positions, scoring a lot and scoring a few. Playing for the most points obviously gives up like Z bombs, Q bombs, which I wasn't thrilled about. But then the real problem with Reburial is that in exchange for blocking the T and the N, I'm basically giving up some Z plays that she ended up fishing for. So I was aware of that worry while playing it, but I felt like blocking. I felt like the lane would get taken care of. I felt like I could block the Z spot soon enough. Thank you.
I'll show you what she had.
Yeah.
She had
Wow.
these.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So-
She spotted the opportunity. So I kind of regretted that later, especially because with Cat, I didn't feel like I was in a position to block with 18. So it was interesting. It's one of those pivotal moments where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna grind it out. I'm gonna leave less up to chance because I just don't want to get bingoed on immediately. And it worked out this time.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly for you. That was an incredible game, and hats off to Annette, man. She had to go through the gauntlet of Josh and then Jackson on stream, drew 0 blanks in the 2 game, and it came down to the wire anyway. That was some cool stuff.
Yeah.
But with that, we're gonna wind down our coverage. Let's cheers to Jackson, your
Thank you.
2024 Crescent City Cup. No better way to go out, in the New Orleans tournament than with a little cheers and a little IPA. We're gonna sign off for now. Thanks to everybody for viewing. Thanks to our tournament staff, Lindsay, Lila, Kate, Tim, everybody who put this together, to Andrew and Christian on the ground for running the stream and all they've done for that. They made it so easy for me, and I tried my best to mess it up by unplugging things. And once again, congrats to our champions, CSW champion Dave Wiegand, NWL champion Jackson Smylie. We're going to sign off for there. Any final words of wisdom for the crowd, Jackson?
Oh, well, thanks for watching the games.
All right.
I wasn't expecting to be there.
Yeah.
Thank
Well, there you have it. All right. With that, we're going to cut our coverage. We will see y'all next year from New Orleans if you're not here yourself. Until then.